Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamcha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I'm very happy to be here with you still. I'm very fortunate to be having a month here at beautiful Radhadesh. Such a wonderful temple, it's such a wonderful community. I'm feeling very inspired, very uplifted, taking a month out of the distractions from life and coming here and just being able to take time out is a great gift. So today you've asked me to speak something. I've had the fortune of sitting here and speaking something about to glorify Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya in ISKCON. So I wanted to carry on reading today something from one of the biographies of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, from Harisuri Prabhu. And it's last week I was reading as well about the week where Srila Prabhupada came to London. I joined ISKCON in London. I'd met devotees, I'd bought some books, and I'd become convinced that this is such a wonderful philosophy that I went to, after a short while, I went to live take shelter of the ashram in London. So while I was there, I had the very good fortune that Srila Prabhupada came to visit. And so what I'm going to read today is something that occurred in that week while I was staying there. It was, Srila Prabhupada was there. Apparently, we weren't completely aware of that as new devotees living in the temple, but Srila Prabhupada wasn't in very good health. He'd had a heavy cold, he'd been continuously traveling around the world, and he was around about 80 years old at that time, but still traveling and preaching and inspiring the devotees. So he'd come from New York to London. Devotees from Europe had come, probably from Belgium and Holland and Germany and France, had all gathered there to be there to welcome Srila Prabhupada and to get a moment's association with him. It said in our scriptures that a moment's association with a pure devotee is such the greatest gift we can have. So I feel very blessed that I had that association of Srila Prabhupada in the fact that I was in his divine presence there. So this is a biography by Hari Suri, who is still very active in Krishna consciousness, despite health restrictions. I believe he's still there in Calcutta, doing a lot of research work for Srila Prabhupada. Is that correct, Prabhu? Do you know that? You're not sure? Okay. Well, this is what I heard. He was doing a lot of research work between Mayapur and Calcutta, research into many of the holy places and scriptures that are associated with the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is the Sampradaya that we're a part of. So it's not, I just want to emphasize that it's not just Srila Prabhupada, a great speaker, a great orator, a charismatic person. It's not just that he came on his own merits, as it were, but he comes in a whole big line of Guru Parampara. And that's why the potency in his words is there, because he's bringing us a message that is going back, way back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who we understand is a Yuga avatar, and way back from Lord Krishna himself, where he came 5,000 years ago to give this message of Bhagavad Gita. So he's coming in this wonderful line. He's coming under the order of his spiritual master. His spiritual master said, Lord Chaitanya actually said, my name will be sung in every town and village around the world. When he says my name, he means the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we can see now practically that all over the world, centers are popping up, clusters of devotees are there, temples are being established, Harinam is going on, and so many people are coming forward to hear about this wonderful message of Sri Krishna, this wonderful message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to hear about the glories of Srila Prabhupada, who made this possible in the Western-speaking world. His spiritual master had given him that message on the very first meeting, on the rooftop of the center at Altadanga Road. I had the good fortune of going there a couple of years ago. It's a wonderful old building, but it's been very nicely established and renovated by ISKCON devotees. And we can actually go up on that rooftop where Srila Prabhupada first met his spiritual master, and where he uttered those immortal words, if you're an educated young man, please go out and teach this message to the Western world. And Srila Prabhupada took that message to heart. That time he was a young man, and he was working, he had a young family, but he took that message to his heart. And so he had, like, we can say, a lifetime in preparation. And it's only when he was 79 years old that he actually came out from India to bring this message to the West. So we can take heart in that. We may be very busy with our lives, our family lives, our responsibilities, our jobs, and so many things that we have to do just to keep everything ticking over. But it's never too late to take up the message of Srila Prabhupada, to take up the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to do our little bit to help to bring this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the world. Okay, going back to the point, this is a diary that was compiled by Harisari Prabhu, who was traveling with Srila Prabhupada at the time. So I'm going to read something from here about when Srila Prabhupada was staying at the manor, and then George Harrison came. George Harrison was a member of the Beatles. Many of you will remember that. Some of you may not. Some people, young people, might not have heard the Beatles nowadays, but they were very, very popular all over the world in the 70s. And George Harrison had come into contact with devotees, especially Shyama Sundar and Guru Das, early devotees. And he'd become very interested in Krishna consciousness. And he met Srila Prabhupada on a few occasions. So when he heard that Srila Prabhupada was visiting England at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, he came along to visit. So I'm going to read something about that visit now. Right. Guru Das Maharaj brought George Harrison to see Srila Prabhupada in the afternoon on one of the days. George is an old friend of Guru Das and Mukunda, and he was happy to respond to Srila Prabhupada's invitation to come and see him. George has not been very actively involved with us lately, but still he is very favourable and certainly likes to chant the Maha Mantra. George struck me as a good candidate for spiritual advancement, unpretentious and humble. He lacked the air of self-importance one usually associates with those who have attained some status in life, and he was at ease in the presence of devotees. So he'd had quite a bit of association with devotees. Devotees had gone to visit him in his home, and he'd actually made a big donation in the early days to print the Krishna books. As we see, we have the Krishna books, and we're having daily evening readings of the Krishna book. And in the front of that Krishna book, there's a little write-up by George Harrison about who is Krishna, what the whole Krishna consciousness is about. So he actually paid for the first printing of those first Krishna books that were made available. Because Srila Prabhupada translated so many books from Sanskrit into English, Srimad Bhagavatam. So while he was traveling and preaching, he's also spending a lot of time dictating and translating these books. So he was working on the Srimad Bhagavatam for a long time, but he decided that he would then make the Krishna book, make the Krishna books come in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he wanted to make that available for the world. So Srila Prabhupada stopped his translation of Srimad Bhagavatam and went and homed in on the 10th canto. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Vishaka Lalita ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnita ki jai, Hare Krishna. So he made that available. He wanted to make sure that the Krishna book, the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, was made available to the world. Beautiful. We read those books now and we get so much nectar, so much instruction from Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was resting in bed when George Harrison arrived. There is a rule that Srila Prabhupada is never to be woken for any reason, but for George, Prabhupada made an exception. Harisori says, I went into the bedroom and informed him that George had arrived. I would just say one thing again about Srila Prabhupada. He did not sleep much. So at this time he was not in very good health, and he was so taking some rest in the day. But generally Srila Prabhupada only slept about 2 or 3 hours a night. The rest of the time, especially in the night, he'd be translating his books. And in the day, he would hardly rest, really. He'd have massage by the devotees and sort of rest, but he did not sleep much. Srila Prabhupada felt that sleeping was a waste of time. Some places we've heard about that. It's amazing, isn't it? So, George, yes, bring him in immediately, said Prabhupada. And then rather than coming into the sitting room, Srila Prabhupada sat up in bed to talk with George. When he entered, Prabhupada had a seat brought in for him and instructed us to feed him some prasadam. Srila Prabhupada was always very keen and very careful to tell us that we should always give prasadam to people. Prasadam is considered like the secret weapon, you know. Many people might come here to the temple, to the community, to the chateau for all sorts of different reasons, but we always like to try and make sure that they get prasadam. Just like in the restaurant, all the food in the restaurant, that's cooked and offered first. So even though the people might be coming thinking they're just getting a nice vegetarian meal, they're actually getting prasadam. They go to the bakery, so many wonderful things are made. Again, it's all prasadam. This is very important in our Krishna conscious movement. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada said this was a kitchen religion. You know, it's very important. When we first joined the temple, we were I was in my 20s, and we had big appetites, really. We used to eat, we have huge plates, and we'd fill them up, especially for the Sunday program, especially for the Sunday feast program that we had. And we understand that it's okay, you know, take lots of prasadam. Prasadam means the mercy of the Lord, and this way we can become purified. Of course, as we become older, more mature in our understanding and Krishna consciousness, we don't want to go on still taking so much prasadam. We want to go on and serve so much prasadam. And for ourselves, we take what we need to keep body and soul together, because we need to lead a healthy life so that we can serve Krishna very nicely in this life. But prasadam distribution is very important, and Prabhupada stressed that so many times. We set up small tables for George and some of the senior men. Prabhupada engaged him in light conversation as they ate. Having been informed of Srila Prabhupada's illness, George inquired, "How do you feel?" Prabhupada smiled. "I have old man's disease, cough and cold, so coughing, but still work is going on. And I shall complete 80 years this month." So Srila Prabhupada is 79, same age as our dear Leela Shakti. She's 79 years old. So imagine traveling around the world, preaching, inspiring the devotees, always on the go. This is Srila Prabhupada. I shall complete 80 years this month. Oh, September 81. Oh, so actually, he's already 80. So now, due to age, it is becoming a little difficult. Then Prabhupada asked George how he was and if he was still chanting. George said that he was, and Prabhupada replied, "Thank you. Chanting, that is our life and soul. Grihe va vanate tako, how gauranga bole dako. Wherever you live, it doesn't matter. Chant Hare Krishna, that's all. That is our only support." So, you know, Srila Prabhupada was always preaching and always telling everyone, chant this Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna mantra is so potent, so powerful, given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or should I say revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the world. This is said to be the most degraded age, Kali Yuga. Hypocrisy, quarrel, so many bad qualities that we have, the world, and we can see with our own eyes the world becoming very polluted, the use of chemicals on the fields, in the ground, so many artificial things that are used to grow the fruits and vegetables we eat, so much pollution in the air, in the seas, in the rivers. We can see this going on. But no matter where we are, sorry, I lost my track of thought. Okay. Prabhupada said, no matter where you are, chant Hare Krishna. Oh yes, so Kali Yuga, very degraded age. And somehow or other, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very kindly giving us the highest level of realization, the opportunity to purify our lives, to come to the highest perfection of developing pure love for Krishna. So he came and he gave that to the most degraded people in this age. And so we're very fortunate that somehow or other we have this human form of life. This is a great opportunity to take up this process very sincerely, daily chant Hare Krishna, daily worship the deities, daily read something from these wonderful scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Associate with devotees. Try and understand this message and perfect this human form of life. Srila Prabhupada was always giving us the highest goal to reach for, pure love of God. Hare Krishna. George complimented Srila Prabhupada that he was pleased to see that his disciples were looking healthy and strong. Prabhupada chuckled, yes, phalena parichiyate. By the result, one has to study. Yesterday, one devotee's father and mother came. Harisori's mother and father came to the temple. She and his father were very pleased to see him looking healthy and bright. So we are inviting everyone, come here. Such a nice house given by George. George Harrison donated the ashram that we still have today in London, Bhaktivedanta Manor. At that time it had 17 acres. Now it has like 40 acres and very well established, very well maintained. So George Harrison had also donated that. So Prabhupada's saying, you come here, you live comfortably, eat nicely, and chant Hare Krishna. We don't want any factory work, Prabhupada laughed. Simply cartels and mridanga. Still, people do not come. They'll prefer to go to the factory, whole day work in hell. And then George says, I suppose someday the whole of the world will just be chanting in the country. George mused. That is not possible, Prabhupada said. But if some of the leading men, they take it seriously, then others will follow. Just like in our book, the Krishna book, your signature, George Harrison's signature is there. Oh, George Harrison, yes. So they take it without any consideration. Krishna book. Yad yad acharati shrestas, tad tad eva taro janaha. Again, Srila Prabhupada is always backing up what he's saying with reference to the scriptures. Then he's quoting a verse from Bhagavad Gita. Whatever a great man does, common men follow in their footsteps. Yad yada charity shresthas. So George Harrison, he'd wanted at one point to join the temple. He wanted to shave up and live in the ashram. But Prabhupada said, no, don't do that. You stay back, you do your work. He was a very good artist, he was a musician, very good arranger of music, and very poetical. He wrote many songs also. So Prabhupada encouraged him to stay in his position, do his duty. His duty was to write and sing. And he knew that this would be better for him than moving into the ashram. And actually George Harrison then went on to write many beautiful songs, produced many albums, LPs in those days. And we can still hear those beautiful songs, very philosophical, very good understanding of the message of Bhagavad Gita. And he's the famous song, the most famous song, of course, is the My Sweet Lord, that some of you may have heard. Still sung today and played today on radios around the world. Iconic song. I remember when I was a teenager hearing that. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I didn't have a clue what it meant. But the potency of this Hare Krishna mantra is that just by hearing it, it will have a profound effect on our heart and will have a purifying effect. So just now, we can see that all over the world, devotees are going out and doing Harinam in the streets. This is a very important thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started 500 years ago. 50 years ago, Srila Prabhupada encouraged the devotees to go out and do Harinam on the streets. And people may not understand the language of the mantra. They may not even like hearing the mantra. But even just hearing it, they're having the purifying effect is going on. So in this way, they hear the Maha Mantra, they may meet some devotees on the streets distributing books. They may take those books, they may not read them straight away, but those books all sit, they're beautiful books, they're very well produced. One day either they will pick up or someone will pick up, and it will have a profound effect on their lives. And I'm very very impressed here at Radhadesh when I see that so many people are coming here, and it's a very beautiful part of the country. People come to this area for holidays, for leisure. They go and visit the beautiful town nearby, or so many little villages nearby. Then they also hear about, there's this chateau called Radhedesh, where there's some kind of a temple or spiritual community there. So I've been seeing so many groups of people coming here, so many European people who might not ordinarily go to a temple, but are coming here to have a visit to the chateau. And they've been taken around, they've been shown a film show about the history of the chateau, the history of the Hare Krishna movement. They're coming here, they're getting the Darshan of beautiful deities. They're going around, walking around in the beautiful grounds, meeting devotees. So it's a very wonderful preaching work that's going on here. And I do really feel it's such a... I've seen so many devotees here that have been here many years, establishing this community, and lots of people come and go, but there's a core group of very dedicated people who have brought their children up here. Met your son yesterday, very nice young man, 21 years old. So his whole life he's been involved in this community. It's a very powerful community, and I'm sure Srila Prabhupada would be very pleased to see how well it's being maintained and growing steadily. Yesterday as well, there was a beautiful Diwali, Saturday, a beautiful Diwali celebration held here. Many guests came from the Indian community that have settled in parts of Europe, came here to take part in those celebrations. Many Europeans. There were also many devotees that were many people that had come for a yoga retreat or spiritual retreat, led by one, I heard, young devotee who's a Guru Kuli. That young man, what's his name? Huh? Vedasara? Vedasara. Yeah. Anyway, if I got your name wrong, please forgive me, Prabhuji. But very impressive. The temple room was crowded out. He was singing beautiful mantras in a way that people could really resonate with that. And then he was telling some stories from our holy scriptures in a way that I looked into the room and everyone was listening like you couldn't drop a pin. They were listening to his words and gaining something really powerful, very, very powerful about this. They will definitely go away with a good impression of this message of Srila Prabhupada, this message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll go on with my reading a little bit more. Okay. So all this, before I go, so all this is due to the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. Please forgive me, I'm going from track to track. I started saying about the festival here. I'm not used to sitting here in this position, so please forgive me. So my mind does kind of wander a little bit around. But what I was going to say as well was about the Diwali program yesterday, and the importance of festivals. We're very fortunate in the Krishna consciousness movement is that we have many beautiful festivals. There's always something joyful to celebrate. And by taking part in those festivals, we also can develop our love for Krishna even more, our understanding of the pastimes a little bit more. I saw many devotees working very hard, working together, cooperating together, working in the background to put on that beautiful festival. The drama was exceptional. A lot of young people took part in that. Again, it's something that Srila Prabhupada always encouraged us to do right from the early days. He'd encourage us to do dramas. And I've also been involved in working with the drama groups in different places that I've been in my Krishna consciousness. So seeing the young people coming forward and putting on the Ramayana or snippets from the Ramayana was very encouraging. And I know Srila Prabhupada would be pleased to see that. Very cleverly done, how they went round to the different areas and kept it very simple, but had a very good soundtrack. So whoever got that together, well done, because it made it very clear, the very clear message came out. So yeah, dramas are very important, and I'd like to encourage the young people to carry on with that and to pursue that more and more. We used to sometimes go into the streets and do like spontaneous dramas, simple little skits, taking some aspects of the philosophy. There's one story called like The Drowning Man, and we used to do that on the street sometimes. Boatman the Scholar, some of these early dramas. So these are very good ways of getting the philosophy out to the public. Very attractive to the public also. So thank all the devotees. I'd like to thank all the devotees for their contribution to that Diwali festival, which was very well organised. The lantern parade with the chanting of Hare Krishna, people were getting involved. Again, people who would not necessarily ordinarily start chanting and dancing, they were dancing around the devotees, and everyone was in a very happy, blissful mood to celebrate. And we have another festival coming up on Wednesday, which is Govardhan Puja. So I'm looking forward to spending that with all of you. And it's a story where Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill. Yeah, we celebrate that. So I'm not going to read any more. I think I'll leave it at that for now. And I wonder if anybody's got any questions or reflections or contributions that they'd like to make. Anything they'd like to say. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your reading in your class. I have a question regarding George Harrison.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Haribol. Modern technology. Hare Krishna. It works. Yes. We understand that in order to go back to Godhead, you have to be initiated and follow some austerities, initiated in the mantra. Now, Prabhupada seems to be exceptionally merciful towards this George Harrison. Is there any indication where he ended up?
Well, we can't really speculate about that, but Prabhupada was very fond of him and very encouraging to him, and we know that he's done so much of service to facilitate Prabhupada's movement. And actually, although George didn't join and live in the temple, and he did lead his life, and he did not manage to follow all the principles in his life. He struggled with that, some of the principles, but still he maintained that connection with the devotees. And George Harrison at some point had cancer and he was quite ill. A lot of things happened. But at the time, when it was time to leave his body, devotees were with him. I'm not sure, 100% sure if it was Mukunda or Shyama Sundar. I think it might have been Shyama Sundar. But there was a small group of devotees with him, and they were chanting with him and encouraging him as he left his body. So what a glorious way to leave this world. I cannot speculate what happened to him, but I know that Prabhupada explained that even a little advancement on this path will save one from the most dangerous type of fear. And the most dangerous type of fear, Prabhupada said, is falling down again into animal species. So whether Srila Prabhupada gave him his causeless mercy and he went back home, back to Godhead, or whether he had to take birth again in the material world, but he will definitely carry on where he left off. To wherever his consciousness had developed to, that will take him either to the next life or back home, back to Godhead. I think that's all I can say on that matter, really.
I would like to have another thing, because you're from England. So, and you have seen the movement growing there. As young brahmacharis, we also discussed about George Harrison. And somebody used to say that when he asked Prabhupada, do any initiation, he said, no, you're already Hari's son.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, Prabhupada did say that.
Like
His
that.
name as well is
Yeah.
Hari's son, or Hari's son. So Prabhupada noted that. So he was very kind to George Harrison, very merciful to him. And George helped him a lot in the early days for spreading Krishna. So who knows? I've heard speculation that he, was from the heavenly planets and came down, which is why the Beatles had so much fame, He got a lot of mercy. If Prabhupada wants, he can take him back. If Prabhupada wants, he can take him somewhere else to preach, So, John Lennon as well, he was, the first time that Srila Prabhupada came to England, not the time that I had the coverage, but the very first time he came, devotees were staying actually at John Lennon's estate. John Lennon is another one of the Beatles. And Prabhupada went there to stay, and a bunch of group of devotees went with them to stay, Tittenhurst Grange or house or whatever it was. And Prabhupada stayed there for a while, and he spoke to George and John Lennon and Yoko Ono. George was much more receptive because he had that humility. And we hear so many times that even when I was reading this part about the humility of George, how he came forward, he was humble before Srila Prabhupada, he bowed down before Prabhupada, he was wanted to hear from him. John had a bit more arrogant, and I think he was also influenced by Yoko Ono. He was philosophical, he liked spiritual life, but he wasn't ready to surrender in that way. But Prabhupada did stay with them when he first came. So definitely he's also got some good karma and good benefit for his future life. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, would you mind introducing yourself? I see you look very effulgent. I was a brahmachari brahmachari or sannyasi?
I joined here in Radhadesh in '94.
Okay.
I went to the Bhakta program, and I was sent by the GBC to Mayapur for studying, and then coming back and setting up an Indian community here in the Benelux in order to support the preaching here. Because of the case in the manor, they wanted to close it down. Yes. We went all to protest in Den Haag in front of the British embassy that don't shut down the manor. But to their great surprise, Sutra Swami was also actually part in that group. The Indians we called up to help us for purpose, nobody came. So said that is a message, they don't feel connected to us. And you have to change that. That was the order he gave me. And I've been preaching in Holland for many years. And some of those devotees, they live here actually, my students, for the last 30 years.
Okay.
But it's not so important. I wanted to know one interesting thing in England also happened is in Bury Place. Never been to England actually in that sense. Only went once to for the manor in the manor. But in Bury Place, Prabhupada once said that bring another Vyasasan because Narad has come, Narada Muni. Can you say something more about that? I just read it in the books, and was just wondering how great it was.
Well, so we can understand that the demigods, Narada Muni. I think he also had a chair for Narada Muni and a chair for Lord Brahma. And there was a couple of occasions, I wasn't personally
for
present.
Brahma also?
Well, he wanted a chair for Narada Muni and a chair for Lord Brahma at Bury Place.
But the other one, the Brahma one, is not mentioned in whatever I found in the Veda base and things like that.
Yeah, I heard that.
So there's even more to that.
Yeah.
So Brahma was also, you have also Brahma Asana in England.
I don't know if they still have that. I can't say that for sure, you know. But Prabhupada, on a few occasions, he did explain that he had seen Narada Muni dancing, so, you know, there was one time, you probably know better than me, but where Prabhupada was like very ecstatically dancing, and he was just like in ecstasy. And the devotees, of course, they pick up on that as well. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, Narada Muni had been here, and he'd seen him like that. So the demigods are also blessing this movement. Yeah? And when Srila Prabhupada came, they got, all the blessings are there for him. He took a big risk to come to the West, to follow the instructions of his spiritual master. And so definitely all the blessings are there. And Srila Prabhupada said that we don't know what entities are here. Certainly, I'll just dare to say this, that some of the mornings when I've come from Mangalarti, it feels like the heavens are open here. And it feels like, heavenly voices are singing. It's very special here. Radha Gopinath are very merciful, because they've been worshipped so nicely by the devotees, very personally. So then their presence is here. And if their presence is here, who knows what other entities might be here. So we can't see with our limited vision. But definitely this movement is blessed by Srila Prabhupada and our wonderful Guru Parampara. I can't really speak any more on that. You probably know better than me.
I was wondering, did you ask, because you were all present with Prabhupada, did you ask Prabhupada, what did he look like? What did Brahma look like? Did Prabhupada describe?
Yeah, I wasn't around at that time. I'm a very fortunate person that came in right at the end of Srila Prabhupada's pastimes. It was only like in 1976 that I met 75 met the devotees, 76 joined the ashram. So I was very new, young devotee, very, naive. So when Srila Prabhupada came, and he also wasn't in very good health, we hear, so he was very much protected by the older senior devotees, and I saw him sitting on his Vyasasan, and we were sitting there in the congregation, listening to Prabhupada, hearing him speak, but I never got an opportunity to ask him a direct question or anything like that. But I'm sure it would be as Prabhupada instructed the devotees to paint. Prabhupada, in the early days when the devotees did the paintings, they didn't have a clue about anything. Prabhupada was giving them very good instructions, how Krishna looks, how Radharani looks, how the devotees look, how they dress, what is the setting, how Narada Muni looks. So he guided them even in their painting work. So he would look how we see in the paintings that are done by our books. But no, I never had that close connection with Prabhupada.
Does this burial place still exist in England?
Burial place is there, near the British Museum. You can go and visit it, but only from the outside. I think it's a dentist now or something.
Oh, no, it's collapsed.
Now they've moved to Soho Street. Srila Prabhupada did see the Soho Street building when he went on this trip to London. Devotees Jaitirtha Prabhu, he had took Prabhupada to see Soho Street, the building that they're in now, Radha Ishwara are in now. Have you been there?
Yeah, I think yes, I've been there. No, Gokulananda I have seen. I haven't seen the other one.
You really need to go and visit Radha Ishwara next time. Yeah. Prabhupada personally installed those deities also. One of the first deities he installed in the world, Radha Krishna deities. It's a very successful temple. So Prabhupada himself saw that temple and sort of okayed it, so got blessings. Anyway, we're up to 9 o'clock now. Thank you very much, everyone, for your patience. Thank you for serving Srila Prabhupada so nicely by being conscientious in your services, working together cooperatively, and let us help to push forward this wonderful movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.